Good morning, guys. It's the 26th of October 2021, and yeah, I've got bedhead. And I'm still wearing the same t-shirt as I was yesterday. It's because I can't take it off. Because, it's change of seasons, and I'm having fibro flares, and this time I'm having fibro flares in my shoulders, which means I can't take my shirt off without help. Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, not the topic of discussion for today. The topic of discussion is this. We are living in extraordinary times. We are living in times where it is prudent and necessary to learn the skills to take care of you and your family and those that you love, as in learning to grow things, learning to cook them, learning to preserve them, learning to do all of this while not having the money to do it any other way. So, there's a lot of people out there who are telling people to only look after themselves. They have a very us and them attitude. It's an us and them attitude that got us in the situation we are in right now. Let's be honest. It was an us and them attitude that got us broken away from the EU. It was an us and them attitude that has ended up with us with 3 prime ministers in the time that it took, less time than it took for me to go through a fairy liquid bottle. Let's be honest. It's an us and them attitude that is breaking down our country and our lives and forcing people out of community. We are social beings. We are community beings. The people that will survive are part of a community, a part of a group, a part of a wider family, if you want to put it that way, than just whoever lives within your 4 walls. Until we start bringing those divides together and breaking down those walls of those divides, ain't none of us going to survive, honey. Not one of us. I don't care how big the knife is that you have behind your pillar. I don't care if you have illegal weapons inside your house. They won't do you any good if you're fast asleep and some other bugger breaks in and gets them before you do. Let's be honest. But with a community, the chances are your neighbours will have spotted them first. And they'll be up and ready. You know? With a community, nobody gets left behind. And it doesn't matter what your beliefs are, what your culture is, what your religion is. If you demand that your community only has one type of person in it, you're going to miss out on such a diversity of skills, of people, of family, that it's like, what's the point? I mean, seriously, guys, you do realise that 90% of the doctors and nurses in this country are probably not Christian-based, right? I'm just saying. That they may not have any religion at all. I'm just saying. So demanding that your community has to be a certain religion or have certain beliefs, your beliefs are your own. You carry them yourself. It is part of your spirituality, and that is fine. I personally don't give a flying fuck what colour someone's skin is, what their background is, what their religion is, what their beliefs are, as long as they are decent human beings and treat me as I would like to be treated, because then I'll treat them as they want to be treated. But if you're a wanker, expect to be treated like a wanker. See, 80% of the wankers I've ever met, once you tell them that they're being a wanker, tend to back off. Because it's a defence mechanism. Most of the time it's a defence mechanism. And And you're just like, whatever. You know, I get it. But you don't have to behave that way around me. So cut it out. Otherwise, fuck off. Simple. So yeah, Skillshare. Get out in your community. Put your tribe together. Make it a wider part of your community and your community base. Because we are stronger together than we are split apart. And the more and more that I see people being labelled with this, that and something else, the more I see us being split apart further and further and further and further. And the powers that be want that to happen. They want that to happen because we are stronger together than we are split apart. And the more division that there is, the more they get away with all the toxic shit that they're pulling. And when you start getting that into your little brains, your brains grow about 3 sizes in one day. And you suddenly go, oh, okay, point taken. So let's stop making it us and them, and let's bring communities together. Because us and them never worked. Us and them is what allowed Hitler to become in power. Be aware of that. That was one of his big plays, labelling people, causing derision. And that's why it became what it became before people realised what it was. So, look after yourselves and each other. Help bring your community together. Stop being scared of people. Just because they don't look like you, they don't speak like you, or they don't believe what you believe. You know, at the end of the day, every religion on the planet has the same rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Might be worded slightly different, you know, like do as you will but do no harm, you know. But it's the same rule, you know. And you look at all the religions in the world, they've all got the same rule. It's universal law. And if you start splitting us up into smaller and smaller groups, but having more and more labels, instead of just being human beings, because that's what we are at the end of the day, we all bleed the same. We all breathe the same air. We all poop the same. We all eat the same. Okay, slightly different in some quarters, but you know, it's still, we all eat, we all drink, we all bleed, we all have babies, we all, well, some of us do. You know what I mean. We're all human beings at the end of the day, and we should be treating each other as human beings, not as whatever the labels say. That's the bottom line. To start building your communities. Make your community strong again. You know? And ignore the labels. Because they're there to make us weaker, not stronger. I love you guys heaps. Have a really awesome rest of your day. Blessings.